All right, welcome back. Episode 226 of Chaotically Intolerant. We got a big episode. We have World Series wrap up. We're going to do a little bit of MLB free agency. We have some big opt outs. We have the NFL trade deadline. The Colts are going all in. It is awesome. And then we're going to talk week 9 games and give our picks for week 10. But before we get into all that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Go check out Draft America. Go check out Spring Hill Sports Cards. They have 2 episodes left of the cycle before they move into Four Downs, their football show. So go check that out. Get ready for the MLB offseason with them. And let's go. All right, Mike. Greatest Game 7 of all time. I have to say, possibly the greatest World Series of all time. Where is the whole series ranking for you after we saw it all?
Um, Maybe a shade behind Rangers Cardinals in 2011. It's easy to forget about other ones. When you see one, you're like, oh, this has to be the greatest of all time. It was a very, very good World Series. I think we probably both agree it was unfortunate how it ended. Being rooting for the Jays, obviously, it just seems like these amazing games, right? It's always Tom Brady coming out on top. The Dodgers.
Yeah. I will say though, Will Smith being the one to hit the home run. He caught every inning of the World Series, including the 18 inning game. If someone's gonna do it, I think a guy like that, just a gritty guy who, I mean, anyone who's been a catcher before, or even at like the little league level, that is not a fun position to play. It is not. It's grueling. It's hard, especially he's the leader of the team. I mean, he was the leader. He was out there for every inning. So him hitting the game winner, I thought that was cool. The number 9 guy hitting it. It's like the Dodgers are just endless. They're endless. I mean, your number 9 guy in the lineup hits the game tying home run in the ninth. That's just crazy. But I feel like if they were gonna do it, those were the guys that it would be kind of cool to see them do. So we got the best possible story if the Dodgers were gonna win.
Yeah, the two guys that hit the biggest home runs were basically the only two original Dodgers in the lineup. Rojas signed with the Dodgers all the way back in 2012 as a free agent out of Venezuela. So he wasn't drafted, but he was a Dodger. Then he was Marlin, and now he's a Dodger again. And Will Smith, right? And the rest of the lineup is ringers, borderline, right? A lot of ringers. So at least those two guys hitting the home run, those two guys teaming up for the play at the plate. It was a very good World Series. I thought the Jays actually looked like maybe the better team, or maybe the team that outplayed the Dodgers. And there were a zillion chances that they had to win the game, and they just didn't do it. They had, I think, two innings they had a runner at second, nobody out, didn't score. 2 innings they had a runner at third or bases loaded, less than 2 outs, didn't score. So that's 4 runs you've left out there. Bo Bichette doesn't score from second on a single in the second inning because of his knee. It's another run you leave out there. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa doesn't get a big enough lead off third. I don't know why he doesn't have a secondary. That's the winning run. I've never seen a game where there were so many moments. I've seen it in football. Basketball would be too hard to keep track of. Hockey would be too hard to keep track of. But, it reminded me a lot of 28-3. Even though we didn't have it wasn't like a huge comeback. I mean, 3-0 is not, it wasn't like they had it wasn't the San Francisco Giants in 2002 when the people forget they had a 5-0 lead in the 8th inning of Game 6 and lost Game 6, then lost Game 7. The Cardinals were down to their last strike twice in 2011. That was the David Freese game. That was epic and a lot of heartbreak for the Rangers, especially because they had to then go out and play the next night in Game 7, and it felt almost anticlimactic. But I've never seen a game where a team just they just blew so many opportunities. And it's got to be so frustrating because it's one thing to lose a close game. You go back and forth or play here or there, sure. But just so many little things that didn't go their way. And I go back to Game 3. Bo Bichette thinking it was a walk. He gets thrown out. That costs him a run. John Schneider said on the interview, I hope it doesn't cost us the game. It did. That game cost them the series. I don't know that I've ever seen a game or a series that I felt like the baseball gods were more in favor of one team.
Yeah, you saw the you saw that Blue Jays reporter, didn't you? The better team lost.
I think that was Caleb Joseph, former Orioles catcher. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say the Blue Jays are the better team when you actually look at the Dodgers roster. I just think they played better than the Dodgers did for 7 games. And for
Yeah, I mean, I think
6
if you
games,
look
and they
at it,
didn't
what did
step.
they as a team they batted what like 200 or something like that? Like they didn't the Dodgers did not offensively have a great series, but they made the hits when it mattered. They made the plays when it mattered. They made the most out of their hits. I mean, there were how many men were left on base for the Blue Jays just in the ninth, 10th, and 11th inning? Like it. Am I
Yeah.
correct? In Game 7, they left a lot of guys on base. I mean,
Well, yeah, the whole
it's
game. I think they left the bases loaded. I think well twice. I know in the second they left the bases loaded. They left the bases loaded in the ninth. Clement hits the ball, and it's like that play. By the way, the dramatic catch by Pages. If there's not 2 out, or if it's not the bottom of the ninth with winning run on, that's a deep fly ball that's caught with relative ease. It's the oh my god, it suddenly becomes a great catch because the outfield is playing in because they don't want to get beat by a single, right? So it just and it just adds to the drama. Um, it was just too many missed chances. I think it ranks pretty high for best World Series. Best Game 7. I don't know how you can beat a rain delay that happened after the ninth inning and went to the 10th, and you had two teams that were trying to break long droughts. I still think the Cubs Indians was more epic. I remember people being a little more blown away by that, and that was obviously a great series as well. 7 games. So it's just and Yamamoto. It's the star power. In the end, the star power won out just enough.
yeah,
And maybe it was 2 outs away from not happening, but it was just enough. And I was just so impressed with the Blue Jays. I think like people thought the American League was weak. People thought the Blue Jays would be, if they got there, it was going to be because of softer competition. They dominated the Yankees. They were maybe a little lucky to beat the Mariners. I'll give them that. But boy, in that series, they came to play, and it's just I don't know, man. Falcons Patriots just keeps coming to mind. I just keep thinking about every little thing. Had they just done one thing differently, Atlanta, they win that game, and they shot themselves in the foot. And that's what the Jays did. And it's tough because the Jays may not have this chance again. And it's tough because we know the Dodgers are very likely to be right back here next year. They don't need it. Their fans don't need it, and they stole it anyway.
yeah, yeah. Well, congrats to the Dodgers. I mean, back to back. No matter how good your team is, that is
Hard to
hard to
deny.
do. Like that's really hard to do. And we could see it a third time. I pray not.
Pray not. I mean, they lost back-to-back World Series in 17 and 18, so they've been on the other side of it.
Yeah,
And I think the only two teams this century that were actually better than either Dodger team the last 2 years, 18 Red Sox, 22 Astros. I think that's it.
yeah. Which who knows? Maybe the Red Sox will be one of those teams to stand in the way of the three-peat.
I just hope this pushes teams to really step up their spending and really step up their efforts to put a great team together. I mean, I think the Blue Jays got a little lucky. I don't know that they knew that this team was going to be this good, but you've got a lot of big names out there. If you feel like you're a team that's close to contending, go out, get a bunch of guys, try to knock off the Dodgers, and make an effort.
Yeah. Talking about spending money, we are headed into the off season, which means it's free agency time. Teams are going to be adding, hopefully, trying to take down the Dodgers. There were 13 players uh, who were tendered the $22 million qualifying offer. Blue Jays extended it to Bo Bichette, the Astros, Framber Valdez, San Diego Padres, Dylan Cease, Phillies, Ranger Suarez, Mets, Edwin Diaz, Tigers, Gleyber Torres, Brewers, Brandon Woodruff, Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen, Cubs, Shota Imanaga, Padres, Michael King, and Yankees, Trent Grisham. Anything there?
I mean, it's just a lot of names. I don't know if any of those guys are going to accept their qualifying offers.
Yeah, I can't imagine Bo Bichette. of if you we want to talk about the AL champions, Bo Bichette. Is he gone? Are we going to see them fork up enough money to get him back?
I think it's more likely that he's gone. I also think the fact that he was able to come back and play in the World Series makes it more likely he'll leave. I think if he didn't, he'd probably come back on a 1 year prove it deal with them and then test free agency. But because he had some big hits, obviously at the 3 run homer in Game 7, and as long as his medicals check out with his knee, I think he will be gone.
Yeah. And Mattingly is gone as well. He has left the Jays, which sucks. Don Mattingly not being able to win. Again, that's crazy. He's never been on a World Series winning team.
Yeah, I mean he was a Dodger for a long time. He's sure, as as close maybe with Clayton Kershaw, and um, that's tough. To think about him of all people there. I mean, I think the Jays will. I mean, look, they could go in one of two directions. They could fall right back into last place like they were in 2024, or they do what the Kansas City Royals did. Everyone thought that 2014 Royals team, big fluke, got all the way to Game 7. Oh, and they lost to Bumgarner. They're not going to come back next year. This is a cute story, and went on and won the whole thing. So who knows? I mean, it depends. I think Bichette coming back is big, but they went to the World Series without him. I don't think it's a crushing blow. They got to stay healthy. They got to, they're going to bring back. I think Shane Bieber, right? He declined his opt out. I'm not
I believe
mistaken.
so. Yeah.
So, and who knows where Scherzer will end up? I assume he's a free agent. So, then but you Savage coming back, Gosman. I think the Jays are still going to be a good team next year. It's hard to catch that same lightning in a bottle, but I don't think they're just going to suddenly fall back to being a last place team.
Yeah. Um, right now, the top free agent is Kyle Tucker for the Cubs. I mean, where do you see him landing? Maybe the Jays try and add him. I don't know. Where do you see him landing?
I think I see him landing in LA. I mean, I think it's, I don't know, just when you think the Dodgers can't do any more damage. I think he makes actually, it's the one position that they quote need, right? Michael Conforto was, I feel like them getting Michael Conforto was the equivalent of them getting JD Martinez a couple of years prior to that, and David Peralta. They were just these 1 year stopgaps knowing they were going to get Otani. Maybe it's the
Yeah.
same thing with Conforto. They just did that knowing they're going to be able to land Tucker. I'm curious to see how the Phillies, what route they take, because if they don't get Schwarber back, they're going to want to spend and bring a guy like Kyle Tucker in. I really hope it's one of these other teams, a team like the Tigers or the Cubs bringing him back, or the Blue Jays, like you said, or the Red Sox. I mean, well, I guess the Red Sox maybe don't fully fall into that, but teams that have not done this crazy amount of spending in recent years with good clubs, with contending teams. Maybe even a team like the Mets, they just shelled out an insane amount of money for Juan Soto, but why stop now? But I have a feeling it's going to be the Dodgers or the Yankees. I think, especially with Bellinger
Who do
gone
you
from
think
the
is going to be most active in free agency this year?
besides the usual suspect of the Dodgers and the
Yeah.
Yankees.
Yeah.
I actually think Chicago. I think the Cubs. I mean, they got a little bit of a quote payroll constraints right now, and I think Boston. I really think the Red Sox. I think now that they sense that they have a window, I think they will be aggressive. I think they'll. It's easy for me to say they'll open back up the pocketbooks. Maybe Toronto. Now that Toronto knows it can win, it spent a good amount of money getting these teams that never got past the wild card round. And then I think the team to keep an eye on is Seattle, because they made they made a big run this year. They got to Game 7 of the ALCS. They need players on offense who are going to get on base, who are going to be good at bats, who are not going to be all or nothing guys. They've got this window now with some of these big bats like Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez and Suarez. Even well, Suarez is a free agent, right? So, and Naylor
Yes.
are both free agents. So they need to bring in a bat, and they need to bring in a guy who is a very professional hitter, a very tough at bat. So I think they could be in the mix.
Sorry, I'm just checking. Make sure Suarez is a free agent.
Yeah,
Yes, he
Naylor is.
is.
So, yeah, so the Diamondbacks, good on them for getting. getting rid of those guys. Love to see the Diamondbacks be active. I mean, they're a good team, and they even fought hard to hang in the race as long as they could after trading Naylor and Suarez. I would love to see the Diamondbacks push because, and I think San Francisco. I don't want to rule out San Francisco. We've been a lot of talk about having a hard time bringing free agents in because of the city and the perception, but I think if the Giants can bring in another lefty bat to pair with Rafael Devers, they start to think of themselves as a team that could contend.
And then one big one is Detroit, because this is now year two where somewhat of an early exit, and they came into this year having high expectations. They lived up to those expectations for most of the year until a late September or a September collapse. And then you lose to the Guardians in the division series. So is that right? Am I wrong about that? No, they lost to the Mariners. Getting my teams mixed up.
Right, Guardians last year, Mariners this year, both times Game Five
Yes, yeah.
on the road. Yeah,
Um,
with Eric
I mean,
Skubal.
where do you see them? Are they going to get aggressive, or are we going to see them kind of sit back and ride with the team they have?
I think they'll be aggressive. I just don't know how aggressive. Because I think they got themselves a pretty good team. This is Tarek Skubal's last year under contract. So the question is, where are they going to allocate that money if they do decide that they want to spend? Are they going to try to give Skubal a massive long-term deal? Are they going to roll the dice with him down the road, say we're going to go all in to try to maximize his last year with the Tigers? Is that getting a few bats in the lineup, like a Kyle Tucker, like a Bo Bichette, like an Eugenio Suarez to give them some power? I do think they'll be active. I just don't see them making multiple big splashes because I think they're trying to keep in mind that they would want to sign Scooble long term, but they gave him an insanely low ball offer before that he declined, and it looks even more ridiculous now, considering that he's going to be. It was they gave him, I think it was an $80 million contract offer after, or no, roughly 100 million was originally what was reported. It was 4 years, 80 million after winning the Cy Young. So you thought that was a low ball offer last year. He's going to win Cy Young again this year, and he's going to be looking at 500 million his contract.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I wanted to touch on that just a little bit. As the off season progresses, we're gonna, obviously get more into it. And Cincinnati as well. I'm kind of looking at them to possibly
Yeah.
hopefully make some big moves, but they are, known to be a cheaper franchise. So yeah, I hope they don't just stay stagnant. I hope we see some activity from those teams.
Yeah, and I think we could see St. Louis as another team that's traditionally been willing to give out at least some big contracts. So that might be a team worth watching as well. In Texas,
Let's move into the NFL. The big story that broke today was very unexpected, very sad. Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland has died in apparent suicide at 24 years old. Not really much to say except it's obviously a terrible tragedy, and our thoughts are with the family. I heard the dispatch audio. It's incredibly difficult to listen to, and I think the thing that happens with stuff like this is that when things like this happen, everyone just says the exact same thing. And it just becomes like a broken record. So I don't really think it's, not worth talking about, but it's just not something we're going to cover extensively. But really sad. Rest in peace to Marshawn Kneeland. Again, if you're ever having those feelings, there's a permanent or a permanent reaction to a temporary problem is usually not in your best interest.
man, it's
So,
really
if you're ever having those, feelings, there's always people to talk to. Reach out to a therapist. You're more than welcome to reach out to us. We're more than welcome. Obviously, you don't know us if you're listening, but you're more than welcome to, reach out to us if you're feeling those feelings. But again, really, really sad.
when I wish players would take advantage of the fact that they play for major professional franchises that I'm sure have great resources. So very sad that he didn't take that route, and now he's gone. And I think maybe the fact that the Cowboys are on a bye, probably a good thing. It's so much heartbreak to deal with right now. So then we're talking about on a Thursday here. Imagine trying to get ready for a game in a few days. So um,
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'll need that week off.
And then another kind of off the field thing. Antonio Brown was just arrested on an attempted murder charge in
Oh my
Dubai.
God.
It was actually in relation to a shooting at a celebrity boxing event in Miami, and he was extradited. So yeah, Antonio Brown. Not a shock. Maybe least shocking news today. That he's, if this gets through, we might not be seeing much from Antonio Brown, and I think that might be for the best. So maybe
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna make a another comment, but I'm just not gonna make that. Let's talk about the trade deadline. Some positive notes. The Indianapolis Colts, all the chips are in. We have been hearing that the chips are going to be pushed in like every year for the last, I don't even know how many years, 5, 6 years at this point. But we're actually seeing it. The chips are actually in. The Indianapolis Colts trade for Sauce Gardner. They send the New York Jets 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell. A lot of people are saying that the price was really high. Are the Colts worse now that they have Sauce Gardner and they don't have Adonai Mitchell and the 2 first-round picks? If you're committing to this year, you're really hoping that those picks are going to be in the 26 to 32 range. Now, I'm not saying those aren't valuable, but first-round picks are roughly 50% ish, right? Maybe. I mean, that's obviously not a great percentage, or not an accurate percentage, but let's just say a rule of thumb around 50% that first round picks hit. So you're drafting a cornerback, and you're basically using those first round picks on 2 cornerbacks and hoping one of them works out. Sauce Gardner is signed through 2030, so the Colts are going to have him for a while. And Adonai Mitchell, that was the one thing I was actually a little frustrated about. I thought maybe it was a little bit of an overpayment. He's a good young talent. He obviously had the major drop against LA, but the Colts got a lot better. The defense was a big problem. Everyone knew they had to address the defense at some point, and especially the secondary. Now, you could say that a part of it did have to do with their pass rush, but adding a premier talent like that in Sauce Gardner, that's going to put you over the top. That's going to make the defense a lot better. I mean, we even saw it this week. The Steelers put up 27 points after the Colts turned the ball over 6 times. Their average field position was like the 46-yard line, like their own 46-yard line. So they were starting at midfield and they only put up 27 points. I mean, that's either a Colts defense that is, very underrated already, or a really bad Steeler offense. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to have, how many turnovers did they have in that game? 6?
6.
You're going to have those games, but the fact that they still were only within 7 points at the end, they're going to have.
Now, I will say it was a 17-point game late, like with like 14 or 15 minutes to go. I think it was a blowout, and they did score in garbage time, but they did get a fumble with about 4 minutes to go. The Steelers fumbled, trying to run out the clock, and then Daniel Jones threw a pick on that next drive. But it was possible. The comeback was very possible. And again, I'm not saying this was a bad game from the Colts, but the Steelers, it's more on the Steelers here. 27 points off 6 turnovers. That's horrible. I'm sorry. That's not a first place offense by any means.
They just Mike Tomlin their way to a win. That's all. The Steelers aren't good. They'll never be good. But they still win games in the regular season. Colts, I mean, if you said 7-2 after 9 games, no one's going to argue that. They had 215-yard receivers. They just, the turnovers. I mean, just one of those games. I don't really know. I don't really look too much at this one way or another. This is just kind of typical formula for these teams, and I think the Colts will be fine, and I think the Steelers will still be the 9-8, 10-7, just because Steelers.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to pull up some other trades here. Quinnen Williams going to the Cowboys. Um, Jerry's pushing the chips for this team. I don't really get it. I don't understand what they're trying to do here. This is not a great Cowboys team. Obviously, I think the offense. This is a Super Bowl offense. I mean, if you showed Cowboys fans just the offensive numbers from this team, they would say, "Wow, like this is are we what we're 7-2." You know, we're expecting 7-2, maybe a 6-3, but um, this is not a Super Bowl team. And I mean, okay, cool. The Jets pick up a haul at the trade deadline. They help the Jets get a haul. So it's just like the Cowboys. It's a little bit of the Steelers. It's a little bit of the we're just gonna try and win games because we're the Cowboys and we're too prideful to tank.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks as well. Um, that's a big one. I think the Seahawks might be for real. Are they for real?
Yeah, I think they're good. I had a feeling from the beginning we were underestimating them.
Mike McDonald could be. I mean, he very well could win Coach of the Year. I could
Yeah,
see it.
Sam Darnold is good. Got to accept it.
Yeah. Let's see. Jacoby Myers to the Jaguars. I mean, the Jags add like another mid receiver. I guess they love mid receivers. They love getting a receiver that is like, maybe they would be like a number 2 or a number 3 on a good football team, and they're like, this is our guy. This is our guy right here. Um, this really did nothing for me. The Jaguars just do nothing for me. They almost lost to the Raiders as well. They traded with the Raiders. They almost lost to them this week in overtime. Geno Smith missed a wide open receiver on the 2-point conversion over the middle. That's the only reason the Jags won.
Yeah, Jags. Yeah,
Let's see. Logan Wilson to Dallas as well. From the Bengals. The Bengals picked up a 7th-round draft pick. We'll talk more about the games obviously after this, but the Bengals they got to be done. They're ready to just wrap it up. Get ready to fire the coach. Everyone's clean house at this point.
yeah.
Let's see. Jalen Phillips to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 26th third-round pick. Yeah, Philly. I mean, that's dangerous. Philly just getting better at the deadline. Like we've seen, they kind of recovered from that little slip that they had, and they just got a lot better. Jalen Phillips he's dangerous for this Philly team.
Philly. I still think Philly has the best roster in football.
And they added a borderline elite talent, if not elite.
Yeah, yeah.
So they just keep getting better. Let's go into these games. It was a good weekend. This was a good weekend of football. These games, like we had a shitty weekend in week 8, and week 9 was awesome. This was a great slate. Let's start with the Thursday night game though. That one stunk. Your Ravens roll over the Dolphins. This is exactly what the Ravens needed. This is exactly what we needed to see from them. Maybe they can make a run. I mean, the North is theirs, in my opinion. Right now, the Ravens are the favorites in my head, and Vegas as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Steelers they're not going to run away with it, and the Ravens play the Steelers twice. I don't know that they're like, I think the Ravens are the best team, but the question is, can they make up those 2 games over the next 9? Probably. But
Yeah.
the most encouraging thing here, I mean, Lamar's numbers were great, but the defense holding the Dolphins to just 6 points. I mean, after everything the Ravens have gone through, it's a Dolphins team that put up 34 in its previous game. So, and the Ravens are being aggressive. They added Jones from the Titans. They want to work on their pass rush. 12 tackles for Roquan Smith. 4 guys had a half sack. I mean, it's not great, but any positives that they can take away from their defense is what's going to be the difference. And it was good to see Derrick Henry break the century mark. Didn't even get 20 carries, but still had 119.
Yeah. I mean, how are you feeling? I guess, like, is Derrick Henry back? Is he not? What's the temperature there?
Yeah, I think he's there. I think he's fine. I think with having the quarterback, it's kind of the opposite. It's like the running back's now better because of the quarterback. And usually it's the other way around. I think he'll be fine. I don't worry too much about the wear and tear. Soft schedule coming up. They got, I think, the Vikings this week, got Cleveland maybe the week after. I got to look, but either way, they got a chance to string together some wins now, and I think they're going to start to feel pretty good about themselves.
All right. As for the Dolphins, sad again.
Yeah,
Just it keeps
right
getting
back where they
sadder.
were.
Yeah. Um, just Sunday. We already talked a little bit about Colts Steelers, but I as I was watching the game, I was cursing the Colts out. I was saying that you guys made me believe you guys are incompetent, but they just really hung in there. And again, to I don't really care about garbage time in this instance because the Steelers only put up 27 points. They should have put up 40 in this game. They should have put up 40 points in this game. Then garbage time really wouldn't have mattered because the Colts, besides like an interception, they made the most of their possessions during garbage time. Um,
Right.
I mean, there's no reason the Colts should have ever been in this game with 6 turnovers, and they still were. So that's all I really have to say. The Steelers aren't real. The Colts, again, like this was the other shoe to drop game. This was like that. The shoe was dropped. I felt good about it after the fact. But this game against the Falcons, I think, is really gonna be a test. This is a hungry Falcons team. And the Steelers, I mean, the Colts are horrible against the Steelers historically. And Mike Tomlin as a home underdog, that's like that is the hungry dog runs the fastest, right? Like that's all it is. So this was, obviously not the best game, but I'm fine with it after the fact.
Right. Yeah, Steelers 6 turnovers, only win by 7 points. That is pretty telling. But maybe it means the Colts are actually better than we think. You know, I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. If this continues to be a trend for the Colts, we get concerned. If it's a one-off like that Rams game, all good. Let's see how the trades work out for the Colts.
I mean, their losses, they beat themselves to hell. Their 2 losses, they beat themselves. It doesn't really feel like the teams actually did a lot to beat the Colts. Like they made mistakes on their own. Turnovers are I would say those are unforced errors. Like we saw those turnovers. The offensive line was horrible. And Daniel Jones did seem to have a little bit of panic, but I hope he just recovers. The guys seem like they're behind him. And he goes out and does his thing. Pats Falcons. Pats just kind of let them hang around. They let the Falcons hang around in this game. But I mean, especially like a missed extra point. How often do we see missed extra points still? Like it still feels like a weird thing when someone misses an extra point, especially like the Parker Romo late in the game. It's just brutal for them.
Well, I think it's still pretty commonplace because they moved it back. So it's not that crazy, but
It just
Patriots
feels
just learning
weird.
how.
It feels weird when they miss it.
It does. But this is just the Patriots continue to learn to win. Penix put up good numbers. But the Pats, they just stuck with it. Demario Douglas, that 100-yard receiver, not named Stephon Diggs. I'm believing in the Pats. I'm believing they did enough in the first half. They built enough of a margin and just kind of hung on.
Yeah. Chargers Titans. I still just really don't believe in this Chargers team. Every week they show me again and again why I shouldn't believe in them. There's no reason this Titans team should have hung around in this one. I mean, the game was 13-7 Titans at no, I'm sorry. 20-17 Chargers at halftime. Like there's no reason this game should have ever been close and the Chargers just let it happen. So still I'm completely out on the Chargers. I don't care who they're playing in the playoffs. I'm out on.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Chargers either. They're a very unconvincing 6-3. Tennessee's 1-8, including 0-4 at home. They're a bad team, and the Chargers. I mean, look again, 6-3 through 9 games. They're 3-0 in the AFC West. I think they're still a little better than previous years, but if Herbert's your leading rusher, that's never a good sign. So I just think this Chargers team is maybe a one and done. Maybe they win a game in the playoffs because they have Harbaugh, but I can't see them going to the Super Bowl.
They're gonna have to draw like a shitty team. I think, to win a game, win a first round game in the playoffs.
And they had one
They just
last year
don't.
and didn't do it, so
Yeah,
lost by 20.
yeah. And Joe Alt, I think he's done for the year now. If you are on the Chargers offensive line, you better have really good health insurance. All I'll say is that, because they just cannot keep people healthy.
Right.
Um, to the craziest game, probably the craziest game of the year at this point. Um, Caleb Williams somehow finds a way to win. He beats Joe Flacco in Joe's first career 400-yard passing game. That's crazy in itself, that he's never had a 400-yard. He is the oldest quarterback to have a 400-yard passing game. Um, I mean, this game was insanity, and I've never seen a defense collapse like the Chicago Bears defense did at the end. And Caleb Williams and Colston Loveland, of all people, who has been disappointing, I guess, compared to, the tight end that was taken after him and Tyler Warren. Colston Loveland scores the go ahead touchdown. And the Bears, I mean, if you lose this game, your season's over. You're already saying it's done. And if you're Cincinnati, if you lose this game, your season is over. And it feels like Cincinnati, their season is over. They have lost two tough games, where their defense just could absolutely not stop an offense that has not been prolific. They got to tear the whole damn thing down. If I'm Cincinnati, I mean, maybe, yeah, you keep those key pieces in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T Higgins, but everything else, you got to tear it down.
Yeah, 1,071 yards of offense in this game, 56 first downs, but the staggering number was the rushing yardage comparison, 283 to 46 for the Bears. You should win games pretty easily when you do that. Not need a last second touchdown. Four different Bears threw a pass in this game. Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet. DJ Moore had a 2-yard touchdown pass. Just totally wild, but I think this is great for the Bears. I think just the more of these types of wild wins they have, the more confidence they build. And yeah, the Bengals, I love that Flacco put up the yards. I love that he's more than just a competent quarterback, but they stink. Their defense is horrible. That was one of the worst tackling jobs on the Loveland touchdown. Just two teams kind of, one figures out a way to win, the other figures out a way to lose.
Yeah. I think that's a good, I mean, that's just the Ben Johnson offense too. Having four different guys throw a pass in a single game and you put up 47 points. I mean, this is the offense the Bears are waiting for. I
Yeah.
don't think a Bears fan would have believed anyone when they said, yeah, we won a game where the other team scored 42 points. We were able to beat them when they scored 42 points. So these are not your dad's Bears or your mom's Bears or your grandpa's Bears. They might be for real here.
Yeah, I think they might be.
Let's go 49ers Giants. Great uniform matchup. Giants
Yeah.
wearing the throwbacks too. Looked awesome. But San Francisco, they get back. I think that's the best thing you can see here, is that they just get back on the horse. You thought after their loss last week, you thought, all right, like that was just a little bit of a correction. A come back to the mean, I guess. And maybe going in this Giants game, you are afraid. You're like, what if we're just bad? And, those games before were a fluke, but they're not bad. They won a game convincingly. Christian McCaffrey, leading rusher and receiver. So maybe that's a little concerning, maybe.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
want to
I
see a
mean,
little bit more of it being spread around?
maybe, but Mac Jones, no picks. He had a fumble, but no picks. Just a nice, efficient game for the Niners. The Giants didn't turn the ball over, but they couldn't run it. I mean, Dart had 8 for 56. The other two guys had 13 for 61 combined. I mean, it was a pretty clean game. The Niners just were the better team. That played out that way. Tatum Bethune, 16 tackles, not bad for the defense, right? Yeah, Niners are 6-3, and they've only played 3 games at home this year. So got a lot of home games still coming. And Giants, what can we really expect without Scatterboo now?
Yeah. Denver and Houston. This Denver team's really weird, and but they find ways to win. And they do it against everyone. And besides, like, a couple of honestly, like, unlucky, unlucky circumstances for their two losses, I mean, this team could be 9-0 very easily. So yeah, and Houston's bad. Houston is a bad football team. I don't ever want to. I don't ever want to hear about them. Like they have a good defensive line, but CJ Stroud, they just can't protect CJ Stroud, and they're just bad. They're really bad. They're 3-5, and they should be 3-5.
Denver wins in different ways. I mean, they've won via comeback. They've won low scoring games. They've won high scoring games. They had the crazy win against the Giants. This feels like they got some mojo right now. They lost a couple of those close games in weeks 2 and 3 to the Colts and Chargers, but like you said, they could be 9-0. They seem to they have that knack. They've shown to deliver in the clutch, and it was a game where neither team cracked 300 yards. Both teams had 15 first downs. I mean, Houston didn't turn it over and still lost the game. Houston had the ball for close to 35 minutes, didn't win the game. So you're right. We see one team that's ascending and learning how to win, and the other team that's just very much underachieving.
Yeah, the Broncos, they beat the Titans by 8, lost to the Colts by 1, lost to the Chargers by 2, beat the Bengals. No, I was going to say Bengals. I don't know where that came from. The Bengals by 25, beat the Eagles by 4, beat the Jets by 2 in London, so I don't even count that for anything. Beat the Giants by 1, beat the Cowboys by 20, and then the Texans by 3. They have won in every single way that you probably can win. So I think that is the more encouraging thing. So they're a good team, and I think that's all you can say. I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. They seem to be somewhat inconsistent at times. So in a one and done format, you might get a little nervous if you're a Broncos fan, but they find ways to win. And I think that is a Sean Payton thing. That is a veteran coach who knows how to win type of thing where he can find a way to win with a young quarterback. And I think that is bad news for the rest of the league over the next 5 years. This Broncos team is probably here to stay, I think. Vikings, Lions, JJ McCarthy. The Vikings are a real football team. JJ McCarthy is good. We finally got to see him play some solid football. That's what you want from him. And the Lions, Dan Campbell said he failed. Dan Campbell, I bet he hates the bye. I bet he's so mad about the bye. He seems like a guy who's just pissed off and whenever he has a day off.
Yeah, surprising win for the Vikings. Maybe not that surprising. And Lions, a little bit of a hard team to figure out. It seems like whenever we're ready to anoint them, they come back. It's their first home loss of the year. But yeah, JJ McCarthy had the knack. He did it on the road against Chicago. Now he does it on the road against Detroit. So Vikings winning some of these division games, and Lions couldn't run the ball. And that was a big difference in this game. McCarthy's numbers weren't great, but Detroit only had 20 for 65. So can't count out the Vikings. You just can't.
Yeah, his numbers weren't like overly impressive whatsoever. He was 14 for 25, 143, 2 touchdowns, a pick, took 5 sacks with an 82 passer rating. But this is just one of those. He found a way to win. Found a way to win for these guys. I mean, 4-4 looks a lot better than 3-5. We just talked about a 3-5 team who lost a tough one. 4-4, you win. You beat the former NFC North champion. This is a good week. Enjoy it, Vikings fans. I think he's going to be a little inconsistent. I don't think we're
Yeah.
going to get the same thing from him every week. He's a rookie, that's expected, but you want to see him play well in these do or die moments, because if you drop to 3-5, it could feel like the walls are starting to close in on this team, and they showed up when they needed to. Panthers Packers. Is Bryce Young clutch? Because a
Might
lot of
be.
his wins are late.
They are. I mean, this was a gut punch for the Packers, losing Tucker Kraft, scoring 13 points at home against Carolina. But yeah, you get Bryce Young back and you win a game. He had 102 yards, no touchdown. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I really cannot figure out either of these teams. I do like seeing Rico Dowdle do well, though. He had 2 touchdowns in this game, and it's hard to say. this is kind of the Panthers are the most overachieving 5-4 team, and it feels like the Packers are the most underachieving 5-2 team. So that's my takeaway from this game.
Yeah, like the again, you want to say like, all right, the Packers are going to go on this run. It feels like they're going to go on
Yeah.
this run, and then they don't. And you almost say the same thing about the Panthers. I mean, I know they had the red rifle in last week in their loss against the Bills, but like they just looked horrible. They looked like a team that was done. Um, and you would expect them to come out and just get their asses kicked, but they just get into this like slugfest, just this mud throwing shit storm against the Packers in Lambeau, and the Packers are wearing their throwback uniforms, which again, I love any ugly uniforms, so I love these. But you, I learned nothing. We learned absolutely nothing from this game. Like neither team looked particularly good either. Like even the Panthers didn't really impress too much, but they've just found a way to win again. And the Packers, I keep saying I think they're going to figure it out. I think they're going to figure it out. It's getting time. We're in week 10. We got 8 weeks to go, so
They're in first
they got to start
place.
figuring it out at some point.
I mean, they're in first place in a really good division that doesn't have any teams with losing records. So can't say they're not good. It's just a feeling. But the Kraft
Yeah.
injury, that is big. That is really big. Tough
Yeah,
break for
that's
the
that
Packers.
could hurt them. That could stop them from
That
going on that run
yeah,
that we
they
hope they
just
could.
it felt like such a deflating loss, bad weather at home to the I don't know. It's just a feeling. There's still
Yeah.
9 games left for the Packers, so it doesn't have to mean anything.
Jags Raiders. The
What a
Jags are
game.
so bad. They're so bad. They're not good. I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to hear anything out of Jacksonville. Just move the team to London already.
But
They're
the,
just awful.
but the difference is it's like they're to me the Steelers and the Jaguars are the same, but the only difference is the Jaguars have just not been good. So it's like a big deal that they're 5-3. The Steelers, it's so annoying because they do this all the time. They're good because they're the Steelers. But if the Jaguars are good, it's like they're good because they're actually, overachieving. They're actually doing, things that they don't do. I agree with you. I'm not saying the Jaguars are a team we take seriously, but Liam Cohen comes in. They have 5 wins. They're 2-1 on the road. These weird schedules where these teams have like 2 or 3 fewer home games than road games. I hate the way they do the schedule now. But the Raiders, I mean, Geno throws 4 touchdowns, and including one in overtime, and they still lose. Man, the Raiders. I thought Pete Carroll would make this team a little more competent. We'll see we'll see what they do tonight. They after this drops, I guess, but they play Denver tonight. I don't know, but it's exciting. Like at least I know you see the Jaguars differently as a Colts fan, but I think it's just for a team that's been so pathetic, it's kind of nice to at least see them like, they're not a pushover, and they did beat the Chiefs. They have a better record than the Chiefs. That's hard to believe.
But even like when they're good, they seem pathetic. Like this is a pathetic. I'm sorry, this is a pathetic Jaguars team. The last time that I truly believed in them was Blake Bortles. That was it. And I wasn't old enough to remember Mark Brunell. I guess like that was they were okay, right? Like this is just such a sad franchise. The uniform, like unless they go back to the Prowler uniforms, like this is just they're never going to be successful. I'm sorry. It's just I don't care about them. I really don't. And the Raiders, listen, I kind of called it. I said I really like the Raiders here. I took them at +1.5. I thought this was a great Raiders spot. I was pissed off when they lost. But yeah, just again, this is a sad Raiders team. Geno missed a wide open guy over the middle on the 2-point conversion in overtime to win it. So it's just there's just nothing exciting. I mean, do you tear it down again? Again, can they clone Tom Brady like Brady cloned his dog so he can come and play? I mean, that feels like the only solution at this point for the Raiders. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I was saying Brock Bowers is going to be a modern day Calvin Johnson, right? Just wasting away. 12 for 127, 3 touchdowns, and just wilting in the desert there because his team
And
can't win.
Max Crosby,
Max
and
Crosby,
Bowers.
he's got to be gone at some point soon. I mean, I don't understand how that's when you talk about the rebuild. That's a guy you start with and you think about moving him for draft picks. I think you hang on to Brock Bowers, but I think Max Crosby's the kind of guy that, you know, this point. I
He's
think
been
teams are
there long
overpaying.
enough. He's been there
He
more than
has.
long enough. That's one of those like era changing. You're committing to changing the era. Um, we don't have to talk about this game like at all. Rams Saints. Rams are good. Saints are bad. Matthew Stafford's really good. That's it.
Stafford's in the MVP conversation. Yeah, Rams Saints 2018 NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Saints have gotten over that. Yeah, yeah. No, I believe very much in the Rams. I picked them to win the Super Bowl before the year. I'm at least glad they're not making me look too bad. Although I don't want to see another parade in Los Angeles. But we'll see. Long way to go.
Yeah. Bills Chiefs, the big game of the weekend. Um, it was weird because the Chiefs kind of felt like they got like the bad end of a call, like the refs on that. Oh my goodness, on the intentional grounding call, ball was tipped. Like
Yeah,
you could make an argument. You could definitely make an argument that that ball was heading towards someone. But yeah, I mean, Bills do it again. They do the exact same thing. We didn't learn anything. I didn't really learn anything from this game. The Bills still have to beat them in the playoffs for me to say anything.
5 years in a row, regular season, Bills over the Chiefs. Why were the Chiefs 2.5 point favorites? I mean, I think this should have been closer to the Bills being favored by that. I mean, that's kind of the
Yeah,
default. Would have said, well, if it was at a neutral site, because by that logic, wouldn't the Chiefs have been favored by like 8.5 at home? It seems
yeah,
ridiculous. Mahomes 15 for 34. Once again, Chiefs don't run it. 20 for 79. It's starting to become a trend for the Chiefs. There's a reason they're 5-4. This isn't like, oh, they're 5-4 and now they're going to suddenly go 12-5. This is not, the Chiefs are not that good. They're good. They're going to be in the postseason. They may win the division. They're 2 games back, actually 2 back at Denver, 1 back of the Chargers, who they've lost to. But this Chiefs team is flawed. They were exposed a little bit in the Super Bowl. I don't think they played as well as the score indicated. I thought the Bills kind of let them back into the game. They had the 4th and 17. They got the touchdown. Andy Reid did my pet peeve, but he got away with it. You never go for 2 when you're down 15. You don't go for 2. You go for 1. You get it to within 8. But he did that, and I know this. I know this because I know this, not because I've actually heard it anywhere. He did that because if the Chiefs scored again, he was going to go for 2. I'm convinced of that. Otherwise, had he just played it the conservative, normal way, he kicked the extra points 28-20. Then you go for 2 when you absolutely have to. That's the rule of thumb. You don't go for 2 unless you absolutely have to. But the Chiefs, again, they're not running the ball. They just don't look the same. This just doesn't look like that scary Chiefs offense we've seen in the past. I think them winning all those close games has leveled out a little bit this year. I think their defense is good, but they're not getting the same level of pressure. They did have 3 sacks in this game, but it doesn't feel like that defensive line is capable of dominating a game the way we've seen in the past. And yeah, Josh Allen's numbers were great, but who's going to care? He could do this every year of his career, beat the Chiefs in November or December. But you got to do it in January.
yeah. Only time it matters.
Right.
Seahawks Commanders, Jaden Daniels.
Brutal.
One thing I got to say is, and I know he was coming back from an injury, so that kind of negates this point. But how many times has a quarterback been in a game that's a blowout? Like they've been in the game and they don't get hurt, and no one says anything. Now he's coming back from an injury, so that's a little different. He should have been pulled. There was no reason that he should have been in this game, considering
Right.
he was already returning. But I think they just got to shut it down this year. It's over. It's over for the Commanders. Just shut it down. Say, you know what, we're really going to commit to getting those draft picks. We're going to rebuild next year, and hopefully we'll come back stronger next year. And Seattle's just really good. There's a really good offense. They were up 21-0 like that. Like it felt like it felt like the Commanders didn't even touch the football, and the Seahawks were up 21-0. So Seahawks are really good. That's all I got.
How often do you see a team have three guys with double-digit carries and lose by 24 points? That's what the Commanders had. They had 12 carries for Rodriguez and Krosky Merritt, and Daniels carried it 10 times and scored a touchdown. And yet, Darnold puts up 330. He's 21 for 24, 4 touchdowns. Seahawks didn't run it as well as I thought they might, but man, the Jackson Smith and Jiba, he's really good. And now you pair him with Rashid Shaheed, yeah. Seattle's going to be a team that we hear from. That is a good division. We talked about the NFC North, but man, the NFC West is good. I mean, even Arizona's not horrible, but man, they're looking up at three, like the Rams, Niners, especially if they get healthy, and the Seattle team. I believe in them. Love Mike McDonald. Happy to see him doing well out there.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Arizona, then we'll go into our picks real quick and we'll get out of here. This is Jacoby Brissett's team.
It is. Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon saying that it's not his job, that Kyler Murray's still the starter, is ridiculous. Jacoby Brissett is just the better quarterback for this offense, and they look better. Even in the losses, they've looked better. I would say that. So I don't really have anything else on this.
Yeah, well, they win. Marvin Harrison Sr. was extremely critical, and guess what happened? They got the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. 7 for 96, had that first touchdown of the game. Trey McBride getting involved. The Cardinals are not like a really good team by any means. They're just not a bad team, and I agree with you. They looked so much. It's not just they won a couple games with Brissett or they've been close. It's just they look more organized. They like Kyler Murray always looks to me. It always feels like he looks like a deer in the headlights. He just never looks like he's comfortable, or his body language says he's in command of this team. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my perception. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. But I think since Jacoby Brissett has taken over, the veteran presence, the guy that's won, that he's been on shit, like he's been on a Super Bowl winning team, right? He's been with the Patriots. So that matters too. I think when you have guys that have at least been around teams that have won, that understand leadership, that have learned from Tom Brady, right? I'm sure he learned a lot. Man, Brady's always been good at mentoring, quarterbacks that play behind him. So I'm with you. And for Dallas, obviously they're dealing with a lot off the field right now, but on the field, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, especially on Monday Night Football, they always look bad these days. They just don't belong in prime time. I think we've seen enough of the Cowboys for many decades in prime time, and they just never seem to show up.
Yeah, I need like a 10-year break from
Yeah.
Dallas, I think. 10
Yes.
years.
Almost
Give me 10 years. Like, you give them a Sunday night football game every once in a while, or you give them, a Thursday night, but the amount is crazy. They
Thanksgiving.
really got to distance themselves.
Right. Thanksgiving. That's enough for me.
Yeah. All right, let's go to week 8 and then we'll get out of here. Thursday night football. This episode will release probably after the game starts. Raiders Broncos, Denver -9.5. They're wearing the Orange Crush uniforms tonight as well.
They are. I think I like Denver, but the spread's a little big. I definitely think Denver will win this game. It's just one of those weird, like, rivalry games, short week. I'd be tempted to take the points for Vegas in this, I would say. I definitely like Denver to win the game. They've been figuring out a way, but I could also see the Broncos. Broncos came back, won a big game, big game, so they have that momentum. And the Raiders just got a crushing loss at home, so it could go the other way too. I don't know. All I know is Denver's winning the game. That's my prediction.
I'm gonna go Denver to win, Raiders to cover. Colts and Falcons in Berlin, Indianapolis, 6.5-point favorites here. Just stupid Berlin. I fucking hate this. I hate this. This is a game the Colts need. Like, I know the Falcons are going to be hungry, but the Colts have to win this, and they have to win it convincingly, or I will not believe in them for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm sure Berlin's a wonderful place. Nothing against Berlin. It's just that they don't need NFL football. I'm taking the Colts too. They bounced back well. They bounced back last time they lost to the Rams. I just think the Falcons stink. I'm sorry, they do. I was believing in them before the year, and I'm officially giving up on them, getting off the bandwagon. That they're in third place in the NFC South. So give me the Colts.
But like they do this, they look so bad, and then they come out and they look good. That's why I'm a little nervous for this one.
Maybe. I mean, their wins this year, they had 22-6 over the Vikings. They beat the Commanders when Mariota was playing, but then they beat the Bills. I get that. Okay, so that was their one moment, but they just haven't scored a lot of points in their losses. They're shut out by Carolina. They got 10 against the Niners, 10 against the Dolphins. I mean, yeah, they 23 against Pats, 20 against the Bucks, but if they don't score, it's like their defense is not going to win them the game. So I get it, but I'm going with the Colts.
I'm tempted to take the Falcons at +6.5, and just take I'm taking the Falcons because that's my tradition. But I'm going to take them +6.5 here. I don't know why. Maybe the Sauce Gardner. I don't know. Sauce Gardner will play. He cleared concussion protocol. He's on his way to Germany. Browns Jets. Holy fuck! What a bad game. Oh my God, we actually have to watch this. The Jets have sold everything, and the Browns are the Browns. Cleveland 2.5 point favorites at MetLife.
I'm going Jets, and I just think they got off the schneid. They had a week to recover from it. They got to win a game at home. They're 0-5. I don't know. I just think winning that first game, it's gonna. I mean, it's not gonna open the floodgates. They're not suddenly gonna be 6-11, but Jets are gonna win a few games this year, and I think this is gonna be one of them.
I don't think this is one of them. Browns off a bye. Miles Garrett's probably pissed already. I think they'll win this one. I like the Browns here. Um, Jags Texans. There's something weird with Jags Texans. One of those rivalry things. Jags 1.5 point favorites here in Houston. I kind of like the Texans to win this. Just as soon as you're like they're bad, they're bad. They're going to go out and beat a team like the Jags that everyone thinks are okay.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think Davis Mills is a competent quarterback. Again, Houston's 168, 121 in total points. They're 3-5. Jacksonville 176 to 184 in points. They're 5-3. I don't know how much we read into that. Nick Chubb's also questionable. Will Anderson's questionable. I was ready to roll with the Texans, but seeing those injuries, we'll see about Brian Thomas. He's questionable, but and Houston won the first. Did they played already? Didn't they? Am I crazy, or
I think so. Did Trevor
was it like?
Lawrence take like a
Yeah,
nasty hit in this one, or was that last year?
that was last year. That was last year. Well, yeah, that. But they, yeah,
Yeah, the
no, I
Jags
think
beat the Texans 17-10 in Jacksonville.
right, and I think at the time that sent Houston to 0-3. I'm gonna go Jacksonville. I'm with you. Like it feels like this is a game the Texans would win, but I don't know. I don't think the Davis Mills bump is enough for me.
I love the Davis Mills bump. He's got that extra the neck bump.
I saw him
Um,
when I saw the Texans play in Dallas. And they put up a good fight a few years ago when they were really bad, and Mills actually
yeah,
played well. But I'm going Jacksonville.
I remember that game. Um,
Yeah,
Bills Dolphins. Bills 9.5 point favorites. I think the Dolphins gonna be a little frisky here. I think they're gonna at least hang around. I would like them plus 9.5, but um,
I agree.
the Bills
Uh,
will win.
I have nothing more to add. I completely agree with your logic there. Yeah, the Bills. I mean, look, it was only a 10-point game the first time. I think Miami's going to hang tough in this game. Bills. Yeah, I mean, this. I wouldn't even be totally shocked if Miami won, but I'm not ready to pick that. So I'll take Bills to win, Miami to cover.
Patriots Bucks. Pats
Ooh,
are 2.5 point underdogs in Tampa. The Tom Brady Bowl. This is a good game. This should be a good one. Probably the best one in the 1 o'clock slate. I'm gonna take the Bucks here. Feels like they need a win. Feels like they got to get one. They got to look good. They really want to look good after losing or after beating New Orleans, but looking bad in that one.
I'm with you. Pats are 4-0 on the road. They're not. They're due to lose one. I think they got away with a close one last week. Bucks, a couple weeks ago had that loss to Detroit, right? And they lost to Philly at home. I still think the Bucks are good though. I'm going to take Tampa.
Giants, Bears, Chicago 4.5 point home favorites. I'm going Bears here. They're going to go on a little bit of a run. I think after that win, that was a good jumping point for them.
It's going to be a lot lower scoring than last week, but I'm taking the
Yeah,
Bears also.
I agree with you on that. Total is 46.5. Anyone who's curious. Ravens, Vikings, Baltimore 4.5 point favorites in Minnesota. That's kind of big. Is that big? I feel like that's big.
It is. It is. Yeah, I'm a little skeptical, but oh man. Yeah, doesn't this have the feeling of like a field goal game one way or the other? I would take Minnesota with the points. I cautiously optimistic about the Ravens. Especially because they've had a few extra days here to recover. If I had to pick one way on the spread, I would still probably lean towards the Ravens, but I just get the feeling this is going to be like a field goal game or something. But um, I'll take Ravens to win, and I'll hesitantly take the Vikings to cover.
Saints, Panthers, Carolina 5.5 point favorites. Why are the Panthers are just gonna let them hang around in this one? This one's gonna be
Yeah, that's
close too.
low. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Panthers just beat one of the top teams in the NFC. They're coming home to face
It don't
a
matter. It
pretty
don't matter.
pitiful Saints team. I'm going to take Carolina. To hell with it. They beat Atlanta 30 to nothing. Like they can play well at home. They only lost once at home this year, so I'm gonna.
I think the Panthers will win this game, but it's gonna be a field goal. Something real close again. They're gonna let the Saints hang around. I think they'll
We'll
let them hang
see.
around because they weren't that impressive. Like I know they beat the Packers, but they just weren't. The defense was good, but the offense was not. They were
Yeah,
not impressive to me. So, Cardinals Seahawks 405. There's not even a line on this game, is there? Oh, odds. Here we go. No, there is no line on this game right now. Who do you think's gonna
yeah,
win? I think Seattle's gonna win.
yeah. I would go Seattle, but if it's a high number, I would be tempted to take Arizona with the points, just
Me too.
because coming off that cross country Sunday night game, one of those like Arizona just won. I'm looking to see. I Yeah, I see 6.5. I'm looking at one of the offshore books for Seattle. I I would take Arizona with the points in that.
All right. I like that. I like Arizona with the points, especially
Mhm.
division game. Seattle's looking so good right now. Sometimes teams come back,
Well, and they
come back
own
to earth a little
Arizona.
bit.
Yeah, I think they beaten them like 7 in a row. I know they beat them on Thursday night on a last second field goal, but there you go, close game. So why not have another one?
NFC divisional round rematch. Lions Commanders Detroit 8.5 point favorites. Bet everything on the Lions, especially after a loss. Dan Campbell
Yeah,
after a
absolutely.
loss. He's
I was gonna say.
pissed.
I was gonna
He's
say.
drinking
Yeah,
extra coffee. He's staying up all night getting ready for this
Detroit
one.
for the longest time. Detroit never won in DC. Remember that? I remember my Lions fan friend telling me that, and they've since won in DC. But um, yeah, it's just ugly for the Commanders. They have a hard time keeping up with Detroit.
Yeah. Rams 49ers, another good divisional battle.
Yeah.
The last one that was the overtime game, correct?
It was, yeah, Thursday night, the 4th and 1.
I lost my odds for a second. Rams are 4.5 point favorites in this.
Um, these teams always play close games. I would take the points. I would take the 49ers with the points. I could see the Rams winning, but again, field goal game. Just don't know which
The
way it's
Rams
going.
aren't going to get swept. They're not going to be swept by the
I don't think
49ers.
so. I don't think so. I would be tempted to say Rams win, 49ers cover.
Yeah.
One score game for
Uh,
sure.
Steelers Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
Oh,
Um,
they're the same
the
team, except one knows how to win and one knows how to lose. They're like the same concept of a team. They're just
Yes,
not good, but they think they're good. But one
and I
usually
hate
figures
them
out a way
both.
to win,
I
and
hate them both for
the
it.
other. They had that crazy game. Was that like 3, 4 years ago? It was a Sunday night game in LA. It was 41-37. It was like this. The Chargers had a huge lead. They blew it, but then they won. This isn't going to be that. There's not going to be nearly that many points. But I remember it was a Sunday night game, and I was like, wow, who knew the Steelers and Chargers? Yeah, it was 2021. 41-37 was the final score, right? And the Chargers had a 27-10 lead in the third quarter, and of course let the Steelers come back, take the lead, and then Mike Williams had a long touchdown. It's going to be like that, except maybe low scoring. Be something that the Chargers will charger it, but maybe they still win. What's the line? 2.5 for the Chargers. Ugh. I don't even
It's
know.
gross.
I'll just point flip it. Say Chargers win by a field goal.
It's gross. It's a gross number. Um,
Right. It's a gross number. It's a gross game for two teams with good records.
yeah. And then Eagles Packers Monday Night Football. Green Bay actually one and a half
Yeah, I'm
point home favorites
surprised.
here.
Very surprised. I'm seeing 2.5 offshore, but this is a huge week for the Eagles. Packers on Monday, and then within the same week on Sunday they get Detroit. So if I still think Philly's the best team in the NFL. Now, whether that means they're going to win the Super Bowl again or get bounced in the first round, I have no idea. But I think the Eagles have proven they've beaten some good teams this year, like the Rams, like the Bucks. Maybe Minnesota on the road. I mean, this is their time to sort of show where they are in the NFC, because it feels like they're the team that we forget about. We're like, oh, Green Bay had this great start, and let's see what Detroit and Dan Campbell, and we're excited about the Bears, and the Rams look good, and the Niners are getting it done, and Seattle's coming on. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the Eagles were
dominant last postseason and started 4-0. And then we kind of were like, oh, but they lost to Denver and then they got blown out by the Giants. This is a huge week. I think this is a moment for the Eagles to step up. I think if you told me right now that the Eagles were going to split those two games between the Packers and the Lions, I'd be a lot more inclined to say the Lions will beat them, not the Packers. I just feel like the Packers are going to be a little shell shocked losing to Carolina and then losing Tucker Kraft. They could prove me wrong, come out and blow out the Eagles, but I'm going to go Philly straight up.
Yeah, I love Philly here too. Packers have not been impressive, especially after losing that one. So, all right, that's a good spot to wrap up. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go check out Draft America. Go check out Spring Hill Sports Cards. We'll see you next week.